much is factored in for pitchers with postseason performance? We talk about hitters, but when it comes to the Hall of Fame, how much do we rely on that with pitchers?
The Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the Cy Young. Yeah, I mean, to me, MVP voting is different from the Cy Young. MVP voting, I think, does matter if you're a contender. But Cy Young has always been who's the best, just trying to figure out who had the best year as a pitcher. And I think it does count for Hall of Fame, though. I mean, to me, a guy like Schillings should be in largely because of what he did in the postseason. Those, especially for a pitcher, those are the biggest games. They can control those games if they're great. And Schillings has done that as well as anybody. Maybe his off-the-field stuff has hurt him in some ways. But I think a guy like that should really count for a lot. I think postseason for pitchers should really matter.
But, John, why does it matter Schilling political beliefs?
I don't think it does. I vote for him. I know, but I know some people have said, especially, remember the comment he made about the journalist and I think he liked something, a T-shirt somebody had about hanging journalists or something. I mean, you can't take that stuff personally, though. If you're a voter, you have to be above that. You have to separate yourself. Now, to me, that's a separate issue from the PED stuff. I don't vote for Bonds or Clemens, the PEDs, but Schilling, that's just an off the field. That's a personal thing. I would never let that get in the way of a vote.
Why isn't Sosa in strong consideration for the Hall of Fame with no positive test on record? Correct.
Yeah, no positive test, but I think there's enough circumstantial evidence there, and I think as a voter, it's not a court of law. To me, I can make up my mind on how strongly I feel about guys, and for that matter, there's nothing really. There's no test or anything to tie Bonds and Clemens to that.
Yeah.
But I believe, I'm 100% sure they did it. I'm almost 100% sure Sosa did it, just based on watching his career over the years. So I think that's the reason for that.
Yeah, it's still fascinating, but I view this younger group of baseball writers, it feels like they have a different impression, different opinion than some of us older folks, John.
Yeah, I know. The older guys are getting weeded out. It's definitely changing. And the younger guy, you're right, the younger guys, and a lot of those guys that are now voting, and you have to have a BBWA card for 10 years to vote, weren't there during all this stuff, and I think they do have a different feel about it. They look at it differently. They kind of, the feeling is a couple of things. Either they were all doing it, or, well, I'm not going to be the judge and jury and decide who was doing it and who wasn't when we're really not sure. And I agree with that to some extent, but if I feel strongly about guys who were doing it, I just think, I don't believe everybody was doing it, first of all. So I think a lot of guys did get cheated along the way. So that's my stance on it. But I did end up voting for guys like Piazza and Bagwell because if I'm not sure, I don't feel like I can deny them that honor. To me, it is the highest honor in the game. And if I'm sure about a Bonds and Clemens, I'm just not going to reward them with that honor. And I know people make the argument, well, baseball, the Hall of Fame is a museum, but their stuff is in the Hall of Fame. They just don't have the plaque. So that's where I stand on that.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.